Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great! Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
In the year 1945, the Second World War was finishing in Europe. But in the Pacific Ocean, the war was still very hard. It was a war between America and Japan. The fighting in the Pacific was very bloody. American soldiers had to fight on many small islands. These fights were very difficult. Many soldiers from both America and Japan died on these islands. For example, there were very hard battles on islands like Iwo Jima and Okinawa. The fighting there was terrible. Thousands of people died in these battles. After these fights, American soldiers were getting very close to Japan itself. Japan was ready to fight hard. The leaders of Japan did not want to give up easily. Japanese soldiers were ready to fight to the end, even if it meant many of them died. The government asked its people to fight hard too. Many people in America thought that fighting on the main islands of Japan would be even worse than the island battles. They thought many more soldiers on both sides would die. But at the same time, something very secret was happening in America. American scientists were working on a new, very powerful weapon. This secret work was called the Manhattan Project. It was a very big job. Many scientists and workers were in secret places across America. They were trying to make a special kind of bomb. It was a new weapon based on science about atoms. President Roosevelt started this project, and many smart people worked on it. A main scientist was named Robert Oppenheimer. He worked in a secret place in the desert. After hard work for several years, they built the first bomb of this new type. They tested this first bomb in a desert in July 1945. The test was successful. It made a very bright light, brighter than the sun, and a huge cloud shaped like a mushroom. It showed how powerful this new weapon was. Now, America had two of these incredibly powerful bombs ready to use. This new secret weapon was something the world had never seen before. It had the power to destroy cities. The war in the Pacific was difficult and bloody, but this new weapon was about to change everything about the end of the war. 2. The Big Secret. Scientists made a very important discovery. They learned how to split the atom. This could make a huge amount of power, much more than anything before. Scientists realized this power could be used for a new and terrible weapon, an atomic bomb. America decided to build this weapon. It was a top-secret plan. The project was given a special name, the Manhattan Project. It officially started in August of 1942, but the ideas began earlier. An Army general named Leslie R. Groves was put in charge. He managed the building work and the many people. A brilliant scientist, J. Robert Oppenheimer, led the laboratories where they designed the bomb. Building the bomb was a huge job and a big secret. Many people worked on it, over 100,000 in total. They worked in special places that were far away and hidden. There were large sites in New Mexico, Tennessee, and Washington State. The project cost about $2 billion, which was a very large amount of money at that time. Different teams did different jobs. Some made the special uranium needed. At another, they made plutonium. At the New Mexico site, scientists and engineers designed the actual bomb parts. It took them almost 3 years of very hard work. Finally, one bomb was ready to be tested. On July 16, 1945, in the early morning, the test happened. It was in a quiet desert place in New Mexico called Alamogordo. The test bomb was named the Gadget. When it exploded, there was a flash of light so bright that people saw it many miles away. A giant fireball formed, and then a huge cloud went high into the sky. The cloud looked like a mushroom. The explosion was so strong it turned the sand on the ground into green glass. J. Robert Oppenheimer saw it and later said it made him think of words from an old text, that the world would not be the same. The test was successful. Now, America had 2 atomic bombs ready for use. One bomb used uranium. Its nickname was Little Boy. The other bomb used plutonium and was called Fat Man. These 2 powerful weapons were made ready. They were loaded onto B-29 airplanes waiting on islands in the Pacific Ocean. The long, secret work was finished, and the bombs were prepared to change the war. 3. The hard choice. President Truman became president in April 1945 after President Roosevelt died. He faced a very hard choice about ending the war with Japan. In July, at a meeting in Potsdam, America and its friends gave Japan a strong warning. They told Japan to surrender completely or face quick and total destruction. Japan did not surrender. American military leaders planned to invade Japan, but they thought this invasion would cost many lives. Many American soldiers and Japanese people would likely die in the fighting. Estimates were very high. A new, very powerful bomb was ready. Using this bomb could end the war quickly. Many leaders believed it would save many lives on both sides compared to an invasion. Secretary of War Henry L. Stimson led a group of advisors for President Truman. This group included military and civilian experts. They all agreed that the bomb should be used against Japan soon, without a special warning about the bomb itself. Secretary Stimson later said he wanted to end the war with the fewest deaths. He felt not using the bomb after the big effort to build it would have been wrong. Some scientists wanted to show the bomb's power first or try more talks, but their ideas were not chosen. President Truman and his advisors thought Japan would fight very hard until the end. They believed a big, sudden shock was necessary to make Japan stop. So the decision was made to use the atomic bombs. Later, after the war, people began to debate this choice. Some historians think Japan was already near defeat in 1945. They suggest Japan might have surrendered soon anyway, due to blockades, regular bombing, or the Soviet Union joining the fight. They question if the atomic bombs were truly necessary for surrender. But President Truman always defended his decision. He said it was the less bad choice. He believed using the bomb, though it killed many people, saved many more lives that would have been lost in a long invasion. He felt no regret, saying the bombings saved lives. Today, historians and others still discuss if using the bombs was the right choice. It is a very difficult question in history. 4. The day the sky burned. Hiroshima. It was a normal morning in the city of Hiroshima. The sun was shining. People were starting their day. Nobody knew that everything was about to change in just a moment. At 8:15 in the morning, a single airplane flew high above the city. It was a B-29 plane, and its name was Enola Gay. On this plane was the first atomic bomb. The plane dropped the bomb over Hiroshima. Less than 1 minute later, there was a flash of light. It was brighter than anything people had ever seen. It was like looking directly at the sun, but much, much stronger. Then a giant cloud began to rise into the sky. It looked like a mushroom. This cloud went very high, reaching over 60,000 feet very quickly. After the light, a terrible heat wave moved through the city. This heat was so strong, it burned people instantly, even those who were not close to the center. Fires started everywhere, especially in the wooden houses. Then came a very powerful blast wave. This was like a giant wind that pushed everything down. Buildings broke apart and fell to the ground. The city was suddenly full of fire and broken things. Many people died at that exact moment because of the heat and the blast. Others were terribly injured. Their skin was burned badly, and many were bleeding. The blast wave caused strange wounds. Some people felt like needles were hitting their skin. People who survived were shocked by what they saw. Friends and family were hurt or gone. The hospitals were quickly filled with injured people, but many could not get help. The city of Hiroshima was almost completely destroyed. Where there had been streets and buildings, there was now just ash and ruins. It was a scene of terrible pain and loss. Around 70,000 people died right away. By the end of the year, the number of dead and missing people in Hiroshima was about 140,000. Most of these people were civilians. The day the sky burned became a day of deep sorrow for Hiroshima. Again, Nagasaki. Just 3 days after the big bomb fell on Hiroshima, another important event happened. America was ready to use a second bomb. This time, the target city was Nagasaki. It was August 9th, 1945. The morning was bright and warm, like a normal summer day. A plane flew high in the sky. Its name was Boxcar. This plane carried a different kind of bomb than the one used before. The plane went to a city called Kokura first, but it could not drop the bomb there. So the plane changed direction and flew towards Nagasaki. At 11 minutes after 11 in the morning, the bomb fell. It went down over one part of the city, an area called Urakami. Like in Hiroshima, there was a very, very bright flash of light. People who saw it said it was stronger than looking at the sun. This light turned the bright morning into something terrible. After the light, a big wave of air pushed everything. Buildings made of wood and stone broke into many small pieces. Tall church towers fell down. Fires started quickly. The land in Nagasaki has many hills, and the big air wave moved fast over these hills, damaging things far away. Many people were killed right away by the heat and the strong air push. Some people were hurt very badly. Their skin was burned, and they had cuts from the broken buildings. It was a scene of great sadness and damage. Survivors tried to help each other, but it was very hard. Then a strange, dark rain began to fall from the sky. This rain had bad things in it from the bomb. It fell on the city and the people who were still alive. It made things even worse. By that night, a large part of Nagasaki was broken. Many people had died. It is hard to know the exact number, but maybe 40,000 people died right away. Later, more people died because of their injuries and sickness from the bomb. The total number of deaths reached about 74,000 people by the end of that year. Most of the people who died were not soldiers. They were normal people living their lives. The world saw the terrible power of these new weapons when the second bomb destroyed Nagasaki. It showed that these bombs could cause massive damage and kill many people in a very short time. 6. The long pain. After the bombs fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, many people were still alive. These survivors are known as hibakusha in Japan. But the danger was not over for them. Soon a new and strange sickness started. It came from the bombs and the invisible energy they released. Today, we call this sickness radiation sickness. People who were close to the center of the blast but did not die immediately began to feel very ill. Their bodies were in pain. A common sign was that their hair started falling out in big clumps. They often had painful red rashes, and their gums would bleed. They felt very weak, had high fevers, and could not stop vomiting. Sometimes purple spots appeared on their skin. For those closest to the explosion area, even if they lived through the blast, they suffered terrible burns that were not from fire alone. It was confusing for everyone because some people looked okay right after the bombing, but became very sick and died days or weeks later. Nobody understood why this was happening at first. Sadly, the Hibakusha faced many problems from other people too. Fear spread fast. People rumored that the radiation sickness could pass from one person to another, like a disease. Because of this fear, many avoided the survivors. This led to unfair treatment called discrimination. Hibakusha found it hard to find jobs or get married because people worried about their health or if their children would be affected, which was often not true. Some survivors were called hurtful names like monster due to their injuries or people's fear. Even years after the bombing, many Hibakusha had long-term health issues. Rates of certain cancers, like leukemia, were higher among them. The physical pain and the hurt from being treated unfairly lasted for a long time. This period of suffering for the survivors was the long pain. 7. Remembering and warning. The cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were greatly damaged by the atomic bombs. But people worked hard to rebuild them. New buildings were built and life slowly came back. However, the cities did not forget what happened on those terrible days in August 1945. To remember the past and teach future generations, special places were created. In Hiroshima, there is a large Peace Memorial Park. In this park, you can see the atomic bomb dome. This building was left standing as a reminder of the blast. It is now a very famous symbol of peace. The park also has a museum. The Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum shows visitors what the city was like before and after the bombing. It tells the stories of the people who were there. In Nagasaki, there is also a peace park and a museum with similar goals. People who lived through the bombings, called Hibakusha, shared their experiences. They had seen terrible things and suffered from injuries and sickness. They did not want anyone else in the world to suffer like they did. The Hibakusha became important voices for peace. They asked leaders around the world to get rid of nuclear weapons forever. They formed groups like Nihon Hidankyo to work for this goal. Their message was a warning to everyone. Nuclear weapons are too dangerous. Even today, people think and talk about the decision to use the bombs. Some people believe the bombs were necessary to end the war quickly and save many lives, both American and Japanese, that would have been lost in an invasion. Others believe the bombs were a terrible act against civilians and perhaps not needed because Japan was close to surrendering. This is a difficult question that still has no easy answer. The cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki stand as powerful reminders of the danger of nuclear war. The parks and museums teach visitors about the human cost. The survivors' stories are a strong call for peace and the end of nuclear weapons. They show that even after great destruction, hope for a better future is possible if we remember the past and work to prevent such events from happening again. The legacy of these cities is a warning to the whole world to choose peace. 8. Lessons for today. The bombings in Japan in 1945 started a new time. It was the time of nuclear weapons. After the war, big countries built many of these very powerful bombs. This was like a race to have the most weapons. People called this the Cold War. But something important happened after 1945. No country has used nuclear bombs in a war since then. This is more than 70 years. This is a good thing. However, the danger is still here today. There are still many nuclear weapons in the world. More countries have them now. Leaders in different countries talk about these weapons. Sometimes there are tensions between countries that have them. This can make people feel unsafe. The people who lived through the bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the survivors, have a special message. They travel and tell their stories. They ask the world for peace. They ask leaders to get rid of all nuclear weapons. They do not want anyone else to feel the pain they felt. Their message is a call for a world without these terrible bombs. Many people, including world leaders, visit the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They see the museums and the places that remember the past. They think about the people who died. They think about the power of nuclear weapons. These visits help people understand the horror of war with these bombs. Remembering what happened is very important. We need to learn from the past. The events of 1945 show us the terrible results of using nuclear power in this way. By understanding the past, we can try to build a safer future. We can work for peace and try to stop the danger of nuclear war. The cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki stand as reminders. They show the world the real cost of nuclear weapons. Their parks and museums tell the story so that new generations will not forget. The survivors' words are a strong warning. They want the world to promise not to use nuclear weapons ever again. This history teaches us about difficult choices in wartime. It also teaches us about the need for peace in the future. We hope that the world can learn from the suffering in 1945. We hope that the danger of nuclear weapons will one day disappear. What do you think is the most important lesson from the events of 1945 for people today?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.